All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hopefully you're doing well. If you are on, say hello. I'm just going to double check and make sure that we are live and in the group. And today we are talking about back pain, and I'm going to answer a question that I get all the time. It's something that happens a lot where it's one thing I hear all the time where people are like, oh, my back goes out like clockwork, or every year, like every time, this like one time every year, it will go out on me. And a lot of people think that it's really normal and that there's nothing to do about it, and that it's not that big of a deal, especially because like they can sometimes do some things that can go away. And I'll be sharing a couple stories and case studies of what some people that I've worked with what they've experienced. Sorry, I'm just making sure that we're live. So funny. If you're here, say hello. It always takes so long to come on. I want to see your guys' comments. So, come on. I'm seeing it. Oh gosh, come on. I'm gonna make sure. I'm hoping I'm in the group. Okay, I'm here. Okay, 2 people are on. Oh, Susan, you're on. Hi, Susan. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry, that took so long. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that I see. Whoops. Thank you. Okay. Gosh. Okay. Hi, Susan. How are you doing, Susan? This, I think, will, I know you've got some shoulder stuff and some back stuff, so hopefully this will be really, really helpful for you. And pipe in, I've got an assistant here. I brought up the skeleton, so we'll go over some anatomy that I hope will be really helpful. So, okay. So, do you experience, is this you, do you have it where, frequently your back goes out, or maybe it doesn't go out, but you feel like, like if I just sit a couple more minutes longer, or if I just do one more chore, if I'm chopping or cooking, or if I put things away, if I load the laundry funky or the dishwasher funky, it's like your back's going to go out? Or do you find yourself like, this is another thing I hear all the time where people are like gardening. I was on a call with someone yesterday or last week, and she was just saying, like, I can only weed for so long. You can only do these things for so long. I can only play with the kids or the grandkids on the ground. And then you get up and you're like, oh, shoot. And it's got that like weird little twinginess. And it can feel really, really scary. And that's where, like, when people are traveling or driving or sitting or doing certain things, it can cause that. And I would love to think, like, do you think this is normal? What do you do when you feel like your back is getting those twinges, those crunches? Or what do you do when your back does go into spasm? And sometimes it isn't even the activity. People will wake up in the morning and then their back just seizes up on them. And something, this is a really scary thing, that it will send people to the ER. It's like, when the back goes out, it's in spasm, they can't move. So many people have had so many stories, and I'll tell you about one lady in a little while, where it's like throws the back out and they're literally like frozen on the ground. And it's like they're having to wait till their husband comes home, their partner comes home to help them like get up off the floor. People can't even be moved. Like, don't even touch me, don't even move me, because it is so painful. And it can be really, really, really very scary. But it's interesting. As scary as some of those episodes are, as soon as people kind of like get out of them, it's so easy to forget. And they think of, oh, the pain's gone, that episode is gone, and that it won't come back again, or even whether or not it doesn't come back, that there isn't a serious underlying issue. Like, you always got to ask the why. Like, why did my back spasm? Why is this going out? Is there an alignment issue? Is there an instability issue? Is there an inflammation issue? Is there how I'm moving, my body mechanics, the things that I'm doing throughout the day that is contributing to this problem? And that's another thing that people think of. It's like, oh, okay, I did this while I was just bending over. And that's like the only thing that they need to be mindful of. But it's, what they're doing in the entirety of the day, how they're sleeping, how they're driving, how they're, cooking and cleaning, doing work, doing house chores, doing some of the recreational activities that they love to do. Are you logging miles and miles, hunched over on a bike without balancing it out with the thing? Are you an avid runner, a hiker, a skier, a swimmer, and you're doing these, repetitive activities or activities that take a sustained period of time, and either you're not preparing your body to do them, or you're not recovering adequately. And these are all things that can contribute to issues with where the back, quote unquote, goes out. And I put in quote in kind of parentheses too, unexpectedly. And I would love to know if you are, if you're listening back, give me a little hashtag replay, but can you sense when your back is about to go out? Or do you get the kind of like the carpet ripped out from under you and you don't know when it's going to strike? And what do you do when it does hit? Are you, running to the massage therapist? Are you downing 800 milligrams of ibuprofen? Are you reaching for the heat? Are you going for a hot bath? Are you just resting and, lubing up with essential oils? I would love to know what you're doing. So, and is it helping? Is it not? Where are you at? Do you want to not be in the position again where your back goes out on you? Because it's never at the opportune time. And heaven forbid, I had a client who was overseas and, his background, and you can imagine how painful it is to herniate a disc and to have, shooting pains down your leg, 14 out of 10 pain, from flying from Amsterdam back to California. It's just absolutely miserable. So if you are new, welcome so much to this Facebook community. My name is Dr. Yvonne Castillo, and I am an integrative pain specialist, doctor of physical therapy, and certified health and wellness coach. And I help women over 40 naturally reverse their chronic pain and fatigue so they can live their active and unlimited life. So if you are struggling with pain, you're struggling with energy, and specifically, or if you are struggling with back pain, and even if it's not back pain, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about are going to be relevant to if you have hip pain, if you have, knee pain, and it's more the concepts that I think will be really helpful. So if you're listening, say hello, let me know where you're coming in from, and please ask your questions as I'm going through this so I can help support you. I love to have the kind of the dialogue and the conversation. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to cover the real reasons why these kind of spasms occur. We're going to be specifically talking about back pain, but many of this is applied when, similar kind of spasms or strains or things go on. I'm going to share with you 3 simple tips to keep your back muscles from seizing up on you, even when you kind of overdo things. And then what are the 5 risky things that you have to absolutely avoid if your back does go out? These are like the common things that, it's very easy to reason in your mind. They make sense, but people don't realize when they do these things, when they throw their back out, even if some of these things give them relief, it can actually be way more harmful. And I'm going to be sharing with you a couple instances where this happened with clients of mine, where they did these things after they threw their back out, and it actually made it worse. And one thing that this person did, which is a very common thing that most people do, it caused him to actually herniate his disc and then having to get spinal surgery. So we're going to talk about that. But before we jump in, is because like I said, a lot of people just kind of brush the back pain thing away once it's resolved. So what are some, hopefully, statistics to really hit this home with you? So low back pain, 25% of Americans have experienced low back pain within the past 3 months. And 75 to 85% of Americans will experience back pain at some point in time in their life. I say that there's certain things that are more of like when it's going to happen, or versus like if it's going to happen. Back pain tends to be one of those things. Rotator cuff issues tends to be one of those things, and knee issues tend to be one of those things. For most people, for about kind of 85% of the population, it's really just a matter of time before they experience it. Now, the severity of that is going to differ, but I would say I see this like for doing this for over 15 years. So many people, those are like the top issues that people come in for, and there's a reason for it. And there's a lot of things that you can do to avoid it, and then also reverse these issues. And interesting enough, more women than men experience low back pain. About 30% more women experience it than men. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Some of it is the hormonal thing. Some of it is, weight issues. There tends to be more women tend to be overweight and obese. And some of that does have to do with the menopausal transition, something that I go in deeper at in some other trainings as well. And one of the things, this is a really, hopefully this will kind of hit home for you, but in a study, it showed that 87% of people that had spinal surgery, stenosis surgery, which is where they basically fuse your spine, that 15% of them just 2 years later had to have another surgery, and they were still in pain. So that where that thing is like, people are like, oh, well, like, I can just get the injections, and that they think the surgery is going to fix it. And it's not. And the big reason that happens is because, again, they're not getting to the underlying root cause. Specifically with spinal fusions, the body is meant to move. So if you're fusing a portion of your spine, you start to chase it, because it goes up and down the chain where it's going to try to get that mobility that's blocked. And again, we'll be talking about biomechanics in a little bit, but you got to think of, when you're thinking of back pain, don't just think about your back. It is your hips, your knees, and how your body moves all together. That is really, really important. We have to stop thinking so kind of reductionistic, and so kind of, I have my symptom at this site, so this is where the problem is. And that is the issue. When the back goes, pain may go away, but the underlying biomechanics, the habits that are causing it are still there. So again, it's still brewing. And the biggest predictor of having back pain is a previous episode of back pain. And a lot of that has to do with just when you go to see the doctor, what is kind of the cookie cutter approach of what do they do? They run the x-rays, they maybe do an MRI, but if they don't find anything, you're kind of just like, well, we'll wait till, we'll see if it happens again. And even then they're just tweaking medication. So they're only kind of managing it, and they're keeping you in that place, or I guess you're just kind of in a holding place of like, well, I hope it just doesn't get worse, versus being like, okay, well, why is this happening? What can we do to stop it from progressing and actually reverse it so it's no longer an issue? So, oh, hey, hi, Dean, nice to see you on. So yeah, let me know if any of this is resonating for you. If you have any questions, let me know. So, okay, what are some of the kind of common culprits behind, why does your back go out? And a big of those big kind of couple pieces, and I'll grab my skeleton here in a little bit, but posture is a really huge one. And the body seeks balance. And I always say the body is really good at getting really creative at letting you do what you want your body to do. But many times it's not the most efficient and helpful thing to do. So you kind of get away with it for a period of time until you don't anymore, until those imbalances have outweighed the demand that you're putting on your body, and it goes out. So posture is a really, really big one. With our society, we're very, very sedentary, tend to be rounded forward over our devices. And that puts a lot of strain. Like a lot of people, when they think of their back, they just think of their lower back. But you can kind of see the skeleton here. When you look at where your back muscles go, they actually go from kind of the base of your skull all the way down to your sacrum. So what can happen is you really want to think that there's essentially like a tug of war that starts to go on. So if you're rounded forward like that, you're putting a lot of extra kind of strain on those muscles all the time. And it's also when just like if you've ever seen like a rubber band that's been like constantly stretched for a period of time, it starts to get cracked and get brittle, and it doesn't get that elasticity again. And again, when you're overstretched, those muscles aren't necessarily in a place where they can stabilize their spine, where you can hold yourself upright, and they're at a place where they're nice and strong and they can do their job, which is endurance. Their endurance muscles are supposed to hold you upright. So that rounded forward posture puts a lot of strain on your back, and just having that rounded forward posture up at the top starts to change at what happens at your low back. Most people's posture tends to be where they kind of have that kind of banana back, where you have a normal curvature right here, but they tend to be like really, really, really excessively arched in through there. And that puts a lot of strain on those muscles. That tends to happen because most people tend to be really tight in their hip flexors, and your hip flexor muscles and they actually attach into your low lumbar spine and vertebra, and they come down and they attach into your hip joint and through there. So they are just absolutely primed to put a lot of that kind of kink in that low back. That's why most people get lower back pain. You tend to see it where it happens, like if you've ever seen, like you'll hear people say like L4, L5, L5S1, and those are just the segments right down there at the bottom. So we got, what are our culprits? We see a lot of, postural issues. Those tend to be, why it is when you're putting your body in a position where it's not optimally able to support you and you're able to move, you run into where that's setting you up for having those spasms, having your back, quote unquote, go out. And it's not, sometimes when people think their back goes out, it's not necessarily always just a muscular thing. Sometimes that going out can be a pinching of your nerves. And when you have that much kind of extreme kind of compression of the spine, you can pinch nerves, and that can be where then the body goes and it locks itself down because it's trying to protect itself. So that's where, you know, when people's backs, quote unquote, go out, it's a more often than not a combination of muscular things, joint related, and then the nerves that get involved as well, especially if you have any kind of shooting pains that go down. That's definitely letting you know that's when there's some sort of compromise to the discs, and that's impacting the sciatic nerve. That's why you'll get the shooting pain that goes down. That is a serious situation. Other muscles that get really tight when there's an imbalance is your hamstrings, and your hamstrings kind of go they attach from your butt bone right here all the way back into the back of your knee. Most people's hamstrings are really, really tight. And again, you want to think that there's this tug of war going on. So if you got tight from kind of here, from your base of your skull to kind of your iliac and your crescent through here, and then you got right on your butt bones, those hamstrings are tight. So you can imagine if that's why when people, and it would be an interesting test for you to do, is like when you sit, are you actually sitting on your butt bones? Are you tucked under? Most people are tucked under and sitting on their sacrums. So when they're kind of rounded under and tucked under, again, they're overstretching and lengthening this spine versus you should be able to maintain this natural curvature. So again, we're chronically overstretching those muscles. So again, that rubber band, it wants to again get a break and recoil, but these muscles are constantly being overstretched and overtacked. And when they're in that lengthened position, they're not in their place where they can be strong and they can support us and give the support that we need when we're doing movements of the spine. And the spine, again, does not move in one position. We should be able to do rotation, do side bending, do bending over, doing extension. And the problem is most people don't train their bodies in those ways. They're not doing exercises in that way. And when they have to do those things, when they're picking up the trash can and they're bending over and doing this, when they're reading and bending over for a period of time, that's when the back goes out. So again, so we have our posture, we have our tight hip flexors, we have our tight hamstrings, and then the body mechanics is a big piece to it. Proper squatting, when are you bending over and lifting something up? Are you carrying heavy things far away from you? What are your squat mechanics when you're lifting, picking stuff off the ground, picking kids up off the ground, simply, loading and unloading that dishwasher, cleaning, how are you doing stuff, weeding, gardening, all those things. What are your body mechanics like? And when they're not optimal, again, that puts you at risk for the back going out. And it may not even be in that particular moment, but you do something later and it goes. I always share the story, like one of my clients, the final straw was he literally picked up a fleck of cheese off the kitchen floor. And that was the final straw that herniated his discs in through there. There was many things that were brewing before that finally happened, but that was the final straw. And then number two, so what are some of like the common positions that can lead to this kind of spasming and going out? One of them is that kind of chronically bent over position when people are, and like I said, that gardening, that weeding, when people are really bending over with the spine for a really long period of time. And, again, that's that overstretching, overstraining of those muscles, and they go back upright. They try to do some other things. They do a quick movement, and the spine has a sense that it feels very fragile. And then quick movements, again, where people have been in one position for a period of time, and then they're kind of doing the counter movement. They go into it really, really quickly. That's where we tend to get that muscle spasm, where the body hasn't had time to kind of acclimate, and it'll go into spasm. So one of my clients, with this one woman that came to work with me, so with the pandemic, she's trying to work out from home. Her kids are at home, so they get the TRX, and they're doing these things. And she was doing like the inverted kind of push-ups and stuff like that. And that is what made her back spasm. And when I looked at her and watched her walk and watched, I mean, she alignment wise was already all tweaked up. And when I watched her move, it was like she was stuck. And if you were at the walking workshop, I did a couple last month, I went over this with that kind of walking pattern and like that. And I was like, okay, this wasn't just something like, oh, she just did a funky move on the TRX. It was like, no, how she's been walking for periods of time, you know, her patterns and her postures was what set her up to when she was, you know, trying to work out with her son, is that what it threw it out. I had another client too, you know, it was gardening and a pot was going and something fell, the pot was falling and she quick to go grab it real quick. She didn't have the strength, she didn't have the mobility, and that was the thing that caused her back to go into spasms. It's another thing that we see all the time. And when you look at her body, you see, you know, she had a very rigid, flat back where, you know, she was off in her hips, her posture was all torque. And that was what led her to be vulnerable when the pot fell and she went to grab it real quick, that her back spasm. You should be able to do stuff like that without your back being compromised. And when we think of pain, so like, why the heck does pain happen? It always kind of boils down, and I kind of break it down into kind of three little pockets into there. So you want to think that there's always a structural component to pain, you know, with that's, and this is something that I went over when we do our challenge, is you know, the posture and the alignment, your mobility and your movement pattern. So definitely the quality of your movement, you need to have mobility. And then also biomechanical, biochemical into there. So inflammation, are you already in a state of chronic inflammation? Are you in a place of chronic pain, chronic fatigue? And it's like, you maybe not just have the sensation of maybe being pain, maybe the pain kind of comes and goes and is in its variable levels. But when you're in that chronic state of inflammation, and this is something that I'm going to be going over more in depth over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be talking about, you know, the nutrition side of pain, the neurochemistry behind it, the neurotransmitters behind it, how when you know, are eating a very inflammatory diet, when you are chronically stressed, when you are sleep deprived, how that impacts your ability for your body to rebuild itself, for your muscles to recover. And those are big missing pieces people overthink, because it's just that sensation of pain. Okay, now I'm out of it, but they don't realize like they're a constantly brewing problem where they're chronically inflamed, and how much more that puts them at risk for their back going out. And then also it really slows down the recovery process and the healing process of it. And then the last kind of piece is kind of the energetics and the emotional side of pain, how we process pain, how we perceive pain. Do we feel like we're stuck? Do we feel like we're a victim? Do we feel like we can get out of the pain? We have the tools that we can be committed to doing the things to get us out of pain, to reverse the pain, especially if we have multiple things going on, especially if we've been told by multiple people that it's not possible for us. Sometimes there's shame that goes along with it. Maybe that we haven't been taking care of our bodies. Maybe we haven't been making the best choices in our diet and lifestyle. Maybe we may be carrying a couple extra pounds. And people just feel stuck. So there is such an emotional component, especially when with certain types of pain, low back being one of them, pelvic pain tends to be another one. And also, you know, neck and shoulder pain. I'll be talking about this more next week, but there's a lot of emotions and sometimes trauma that can get stored in those areas. And so that is another big piece when we're thinking of, okay, why do we get into bee pain? And those are kind of the big things. You have your structural, your biochemical, and your kind of emotional and energetics that lead into why pain will actually manifest, why it won't go away, why it stays chronic. So those are kind of the big kind of common culprits. So number two, what are some simple tips to kind of keep your back from going out and spasming on you? So this is a really big one. And a lot of people don't do this, and it can be a time thing. It can be so many different things that is what people tell themselves, but preparing adequately for what you're about to do, making sure that you have something when you are preparing and recovering from things. And I'm not just talking about like going for a run, you know, going for cycling, you know, going hiking, going walking. It's also preparing for your day. Even if your day is stuck at a desk, even if your day requires you to commute, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour and a half. What are you doing to prepare your body for that? And then what are you doing to allow your body to recover from that? So you go back to that happy baseline, to that place of balance once you've done those activities. This is another really huge thing. Why people's backs, why things go into spasm, why things quote unquote go out, because they're jumping from one extreme to the next. If you're chronically sitting at your desk all day and you're tight, and now you think you're going to just jump out and go for a run when you're already bound down, that's something that's going to put a lot of stress on your back. Same thing too, you've been stuck at the job, very stressed out, or maybe you've been doing a lot of running or been very active, and then now you're going to go do something else that puts added strain on it, and you haven't kind of gotten back to that baseline. You're again just kind of layering on more and more kind of sticks in the fire there until it basically just kind of goes. So that's a really, really big one. And this is why, like when I'm working with my clients, I make sure that they have, a very simple program, like whether it's like they're going to go trail running, they're going to go on their bike, they're going to go walking, or even like, these are the things that you need to do before you go to work. These are the simple, 1 to 2 exercises that you need to do each time you get up to go get a glass of water. This is the one stretch you need to do. And it makes such a significant difference, because instead of things like getting amped up throughout the day, it's like, okay, I get a little stressed and I bring myself down. I'm putting some strain on my body and it comes back down, instead of, ending up at your end of your day here and then just really going doing something else. Or you do absolutely nothing. You go then just like sit around and lie around, and it keeps on compounding. So yeah, let me know if that makes sense, or if what you've kind of experienced, or any of the things you're like, oh yeah, that kind of happens to me. And then another thing that can lead into the back going out, the back or muscle spasms, is kind of prolonged activities and posture. So again, being stuck at your computer all day or standing all day. A lot of people complain of the low back pain when they're, cooking for the holidays, chop, like that extended position of their back. What is another one? People are doing home improvement things. Like I'm, sanding or painting the ceilings or doing stuff. That's always the thing, like, that was the thing that made my back go. And well, yeah, you're on a ladder and you're here, for hours and hours and hours. That's putting some pretty extensive stress on the body. What is your body capable of doing that? Are you taking small breaks? Are you doing the appropriate stretches and mobility work before you go do those activities? And then what are you doing after you've done it, after you've been doing the strength? I just built a rock wall last week. So my parents, so they're moving rocks, like literally boulders, and they're building a rock wall. And it's like, okay, that's a lot of stress on your body. Are you capable of doing those things? How are you recovering from those things? It's really, really important. And that's why, and if you guys haven't got it yet, definitely make sure that you download my Pain-Free Body Blueprint, because I go through kind of the 3 things that are really, really important, the soft tissue, the stretching, and the stabilization and the strengthening. And I've given you a couple exercises in there to kind of walk you through, so you can see, like, these are the 3 non-negotiable components that will keep you so your body is balanced. And it's also a nice little litmus test, because you can start to see the imbalances from side to side in your body and start to kind of work through, okay, well, why is this happening? How am I standing in a day? Do I have a more dominant side? Am I favoring one side? And it's very, very helpful when you're trying to kind of break down and get to the why of that. So definitely make sure that you grab that. And with the back too, it's like a lot. And don't just think that what's happening at the back symptoms is it's just there. It could be because, you have one leg that's longer than the other. You have a really flat foot. You've got stiff ankles. So it's changing how you're walking. So because of those mechanics, it's traveling up and it's hitting up at your back. So that's where people will get stuck. And a big mistake people make, I got back pain, Google back pain exercises. Here's a core exercise for me to do. And they do the core exercise. Sometimes it makes it better. Sometimes it makes it worse. But even I think the troubling thing is, and this is why a lot of times I won't be like, here's the 3 exercises to give you for back pain, because when you do get relief, a lot of people are thinking, okay, I'm good to go. But how their body is working in its entirety is the real reason why they have the back pain to begin with. So those are really important things. And then also, what is it? Okay. And then, simple things like hydration, make sure that you're drinking enough water, that you're getting enough sleep, managing your stress. All those things are really, really important when it comes to making sure that your back doesn't go. It's getting pain-free is really not that complicated. It's very simple, and so many people aren't doing the basic components of it. And aren't just doing the right things because they don't know what the right things are to do. And again, most people are led to follow a very kind of reductionistic way versus, but they're not looking at the whole person. I was talking to a woman last week and she's like, oh yeah, I was like, oh, okay, what have you done for your back pain? She's like, oh, I went to PT, but I really wasn't experiencing any back pain at the time. So I just had one visit and that was it. And I was like, well, like, you had the back pain for a reason. And even though the back pain was gone, it doesn't mean that you're like in the clear. And, and then she keep like clockwork was like, back would get worse. And it would just kind of flow in and out. And I mean, basically that was going on for over a decade and a half versus like, if it's like, you need to get to the root cause of the problem. And I think that's the issue. When people go to most practitioners, they're only concerned with, okay, managing the symptom for the day as it currently exists. And if it's not there, you're not symptomatic, then we're okay. Versus like, why are you having the problem, and really getting to the root cause of it. Okay. So this is kind of the last piece here, but what are some of the things that you need to avoid when you have the back spasm that goes out? So surprisingly enough, one of the worst things that you can do is like totally rest. And again, I say this gingerly because again, you don't want to be like running and going crazy, but totally being flat out rest, no movement at all is probably the worst things that you can do when you have your back go out through there. Gentle movements, as tolerated is the best thing that you can do. When your back goes out and it seizes and you just let it lock up and seize, it makes it far worse. I've seen this in, again, hundreds and hundreds of people. And that's keep on moving. Again, when the body seizes up like that, it can be made and compounded worse when people just all out rest. Another really big mistake people make is when their back goes out because they're like, oh, my muscles are so tight. And then they go and they're like, I need a really deep tissue massage. And that can be very, very harmful from a neurological side of it, because people are going in, and if your body's already inflamed and it's trying to protect yourself, and then people are like, I need some like deep rolfing. It can be, the body is like, no. And then you're like trying to like compound it. It's like really, really bad. And then too, like I said, if the muscles go into spasm because it's trying to protect an unstable joint, a pinched nerve, and then you go in and you loosen it up, but then you haven't done the piece, which is the third part of my 3S mobility method. You haven't done the stabilization and you haven't retrained the body. Okay, it's okay now to go through this movement. It's okay, now you're stable, you're in control here. That's when people can get into issues. And that's exactly what happened to one of my clients, Paul. He was a avid marathon guy. He was a chef, and didn't really have a lot of time. They're just like, when people are passionate about their sport, they're like, all they want to do is run, all they want to do is cycle, all they want to do is hike, and it's like, the strengthening thing, the stretching thing. And so he wasn't doing that balance part of what his body really need. So it was like, he'd get tight and he would just run off to the massage. He'd get tight, he'd run off to the massage. Well, one time after he was really tight and his back kind of went out in spasm, he went in and got the massage. Things are really loose. Well, he misjudged a step coming out of it, and he herniated his disc. He pinched and compressed his L5 nerve, and that is one of the ones that goes, it was L4, L5, and that goes to your quad. So it completely shut off his quad. So he could not extend his leg. That was a non-functioning muscle. That ended up being an emergency surgery where they had to go in and decompress that nerve. So the important thing is, again, getting to that root cause of why that is happening. So then you don't do some things like this and then put yourself at greater risk for something serious like that. And I see it happen all the time. It's a very classic thing. Same thing with going in, like people like, I'll just go get adjusted, just go get adjusted, just go get adjusted. Yes, there's a time and a place for all these things. But again, those are very much only symptom directed versus being, okay, what is the source? We need to get to the source of it. And And yeah, so aggressive massages, going and getting adjusted and manipulations. Again, if something's pinched and something's trying to protect itself and you go and get it adjusted, and then there hasn't been this re-education and it's the nervous system too. The nervous system hasn't been recalibrated after being kind of having that traumatic experience that the body's just like, oh, it's okay for me to move. It's okay to do this. The problem just comes back, and more often than not, a heck of a lot worse, and it sticks around for a lot longer, and the ceiling starts to drop for the hits that the body's starting to take. Numbing it out on painkillers. That's another really big one. It's like, it's like, yes, you want to get out of pain, but again, you're masking the symptom, and then you no longer have those sensations of like, what is okay, what's not okay, and okay, I'm out of pain. And then people feel like they're capable of doing things that their body isn't, and it hasn't healed. Sitting and sleep positions, after throwing out your back, sitting for long periods of time, being all slumped over is really not great. Again, another big mistake people make is they go and try to Google up themselves some exercise. It's like, for so many people, back pain equals core. It's core. It's like, yes, it's a big part of it, but it's not just like, oh, what are the core exercises that are instantly going to fix this? For so many people, their hip flexors are too darn tight that they're never going to engage their core until they've released those muscles and until they've addressed those things. They're not. They just keep on making their hip flexors tighter, and they keep on just perpetuating these bad patterns. Oh yeah, Susan says I had so many things that I've never thought about. Yeah, I'm glad that some of this is hopefully helping and resonating. Let me know if you have any kind of key ahas, or if you want me to elaborate on anything. So why the heck does this matter? I guess the really big takeaway is don't ignore your back pain, and don't think because you have back pain and then it goes away, or it just is this like minor inconvenience. And it's like, well, it just kind of goes at a couple times a year. Like, I can't even tell you how many people are like, oh yeah, like, this time and this time and this time of year, it will go out. Like after the holidays, yeah, I'm super stressed. I'm kind of doing this and kind of traveling. It's fine. I just go to the car. I just go to the massage therapist, and I'm fine after a couple of days or two, or I can put on a heating patch, or I just have to wear my brace for a couple of days and then I'm good. And it's just like, especially, this group is, 40 plus women. That is like the insults to the body, they compound over time. And if you're not you're not kind of going back to that happy place where you reversed a lot of the damage that gets put on, it just keeps compounding. And so many people say to me, like, I don't understand why this is happening all of a sudden. I feel like I'm falling apart. My back's going, my knee's going, my hips going, my going. It's like, well, this has been going on for so long and it's been ignored. And it's like, it's no longer just your back. It's your hips, it's your knees, it's your mechanics, it's how you're walking, it's how you're sitting, it's how you're sleeping. And just because you've decided today that you want to deal with it, it's going to take time to reverse, 4, 5, 6, 7 decades of tight muscles, of stiff joints. And some tissues, as I like to say, are a little bit more unforgiving than others, where, yeah, you may be able to stretch your hamstring and it will get loose a little bit quicker, but a stiff, rock hard ankle is going to take like 6-9 months, depending on certain things. So it's really important. So do not ignore it. It's always easier to deal with stuff when it's, seems like it's just a minor inconvenience before you're really backed into a corner. And someone's telling you that you need epidurals and cortisone shots and disectomies, and you're having to go in for MRIs and you're absolutely miserable. I mean, you're limited in your life and you can't travel and enjoy things, and you're crabbing and you're snapping at your partner. And, with surgeries, it literally is, the outcome for it is like a 50, it's literally so many studies and the research shows like you basically have a flip of a coin chance getting spinal surgery that it's going to work. Most spinal surgeries tend to chase other spinal surgeries. Like I said, especially with the fusions, you're just chasing the segments. You're just kind of keep on cementing segment after segment. Same thing with disectomies too. When they're going in and they're trimming up the disc. More often than not, it's surgery will beget surgery. And then two, the NSAIDs, it's such a sin. It's like, I don't know how, Advil and Aleve, it is so toxic for your body, and it is readily available, and people misuse it so much and they don't know any better. But same thing with the opioids. So about 8 to 12% of people that are prescribed opioids because of chronic pain will misuse them and will become addicted to them. And I've seen it happen, and it's a very scary thing. It's very, very frustrating, especially when people are like, the opioids aren't working anymore, and they're having to now get pumps, and they're having to get, really, really, really high dose narcotics and stuff like that. It's really, really scary. And I'll go into this another time, but I mean, getting back to the biochemical piece of that leads into pain too, is like when you're starting to have all these exogenous things, these drugs coming in, there's natural chemical pathways, there's a natural healing thing. And then when you're starting to introduce all these other chemicals, the body will either kind of dole out and toll it out. So you need more and more and more and more and more of the pain, or a consequence of taking a lot of these NSAIDs and taking the cortisone shot actually kills off many of the biochemical messengers and pathways of your body's own healing properties. And we're going to talk about this, I think either next week or the week after that, I have some charts and stuff that are super helpful that you can see that when you take NSAIDs, it kills off your kind of your natural firefighters in your body to calm the inflammation down. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'm out of pain, but it's not like you just wiped out your body's natural fighters to manage inflammation in your body. So when the pain comes back again, there's no internal kind of setup in your body to manage that pain. And that's why it starts to get out of control. And then the more that people take the NSAIDs, the more you're getting being put on, corticosteroids and getting the injections. You're just taking away your body's natural ability to heal. And so many people don't realize that. Same thing with, morphine and the gabapentin that people put people on. It neurophysiologically changes your body and then how your body needs it, and starts to needs more and more and more to get that same effect. It's really, really scary. So that's why it's like, don't. And low back pain tends to be one, because it is the most painful, and probably it's one of the more where if you've thrown out your back or if you've hurt your back, it's extremely debilitating. So it's like, yeah, people are like, give me the painkillers. And it becomes it can become very addictive. So that's why it's really, really, really important. And then I guess the other big takeaway is it's so important to get to the root cause. Do not think that just because you have back pain, it's a back issue. I have very rarely ever seen anybody that's had a back issue that there isn't an underlying thing of how they're sitting, how they're walking, how they're sleeping, the types of exercises that they're choosing to do, the exercises they're not choosing to do, their diet, their nutrition, how they're managing their stress. It's more multifactorial, and hopefully that doesn't seem overwhelming, because it really isn't. It's really easy to address all those things. And that's what I do when I work with my clients one-on-one. It's very simple. There's a very kind of systematic way that you do it. And it turns into this very kind of positive snowball as you start to make those simple changes, you really start to see the big effects. And that's why when people are just, oh, what are the exercises? Just give me the exercise, but they're not doing this other piece. They're still staying in a place of chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and that where the back pain will then beget the hip pain, because we didn't address everything. And so that's really, really, really important. So just to kind of recap here, and I would love to know, pop your questions. And if you're listening back, top your questions in. If anything I said kind of sparked something and you have an additional question for me, let me know. I will answer it, and I'd be happy to go in depth on maybe another live training. So what we covered today was the real reasons why back spasms tend to happen. I give you 3 simple tips to keep the back muscle spasms from happening. And then I shared with you the 5 risky things that you must avoid when you do go into spasm or when your back does go out. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you kind of gleaned from this. And if you have any questions, and definitely go, if you haven't already, go make sure that you have downloaded the Pain-Free Body Blueprint. You can just go to painfreebodyblueprint.com. I'll start by putting, I'm working on right now a couple different resources. So once I do, you guys will get an email. Make sure that you're on the email list. And I'll be putting some announcements up in like the banner portion of the group, because I've been compiling a lot of resources for you guys. So it's easy for you guys to kind of search topics and get some of the videos that I made, and then some resources that I made, and then just a little preview. So I mapped out kind of the next couple weeks for what the live trainings are going to be. And next week, we're going to be talking about inflammation, talking about kind of the nutrition side of inflammation and what are some of like the 10 best things that you can do to manage, not manage inflammation, but to kind of reverse inflammation and how you can kind of eat your way out of pain. And then we'll be talking about, oh, actually, you know what, next week, sorry, scratch that. Next week, we're talking about neck pain. We're talking about neck pain, and then we're going to go into a series on inflammation, and I'll have it kind of mapped out and I'll let you guys know. But again, if you have any topics that you want me to cover, if you have any questions, I was looking through some of the questions that you guys had answered when you were coming into the Facebook group, and they're great, and I'll be just going through those. And then I'll be doing another summit again in March. So look out for questions. I'll be asking you guys if there's any particular topics you would like me to cover, or if there's any speakers that you would love me to invite in. I welcome your suggestions because I'm doing it for you guys. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you so much for hanging out. Susan, Dean, everybody's so great to see you. And again, if you are listening back on replay, just pop your questions in. I will come back and answer them. And if anything kind of, triggered something, or just pop them in. If it's something more personal, you can totally just shoot me a private message and we can have a conversation. And again, I'd be happy to support you. So have a beautiful rest of your evening. Have a wonderful, glorious weekend. And I will see you guys next week. Okay, bye.